Hello and welcome to Singapore for round 12 of the 2014 UF1R World Championship. Coming into the race, Sammy has a lead of 50 points over Edster, having won the previous 5 rounds, while Roy is third, just 10 behind Edster. Then there's a large gap to Modgius. In the Constructors, Marussia are 106 points clear of McLaren, who are 4 clear of Williams. In qualifying, Sammy set pole in the final hour by 25 hundredths of a second over Edster. Roy is third, 2 tenths further back. Skoda has practiced a lot, he's in fourth. A place ahead of his teammate Modgius. Diablo has qualified very high up in 6th, with his season-long rival Cast just behind. As ever, Doof brings up the rear and has only got 8 drivers here today, and this is because this race is taking place on Easter Sunday, so many of the regulars have commitments to worry about. Meanwhile, Sammy on the left, Edster on the right, all they have to worry about are those 5 red lights that are coming on now. When they go out, the race will begin. Solid start for Sammy, but Edster gets a lightning getaway and is now challenging for the lead. Cast got a very late start there. The Force India driver already a long way back. And both BTS drivers try to dive underneath Diablo, but he cuts back underneath. Edster has emerged from that start in the lead, but he's having to defend very hard from Sammy. Edster right now fighting for his fading championship hopes against Sammy. But just behind, Diablo outbreaks Roy. The Russian driver in that Ferrari has made an excellent start to the race, but Roy's right behind. Roy looking to put him back in his place. Diablo moves across the track, but Roy is clearly quite a lot faster than that Ferrari. Going to the old Singapore sling, Roy's right alongside, and Diablo has to concede the place as the BTS driver's looking very close, and Sammy now starting to make a move on Edster as they zoom past on the Espionage Bridge. On board with Ed, this is not what he needed at all, as we see Skoda having a go at Diablo, but Diablo stays ahead. Sammy entering that final tight twisty section of the track, he goes wide and Edster's through, and capitalises on that mistake to get back in front of Sammy. And Skoda going to have another shot at getting past Diablo. Edster maintains the lead. And Skoda takes Diablo at that last chicane. And Modgius also going through now. Starting lap 2 on board with Sammy. And we can see he's still right behind Edster, looking for a way through. Edster breaks quite early and Sammy goes deep. But Edster cuts back underneath him. Great strategic driving. Looks like Sammy has made a big mistake. He's lost a lot of time to Edster. And now Roy's past him. And that small setback for Sammy is playing right into the hands of Edster. Meanwhile, the BTS drivers are very close, and Modgius looks like he's about to size up his teammate. Going into turn 13, he dives through and makes the move stick. Sammy immediately trying to get back past Roy with a hairpin, but not quite. And Roy hops over the curbs at the last chicane. Is that going to give Sammy a good enough run? We're going to turn 1. We can see the G-forces on Roy's neck there as Sammy dives underneath, but hits the wall, I think. So Roy stays ahead. Meanwhile, the BTS cars have dropped Diablo, and now Cast has passed him. So after that brilliant start, not going to plan at all, but Roy makes a mistake now. And that might be all the chance that Sammy needs to get back into second place. Roy trying to dive back through, but no chance there. Whoa, big moment for Roy there as the back lifts up massively. And that's going to give Modgius a run on him. Is he going to turn 1? Is he going to dive down up the inside? Oh, I think he is, but that's too wide. Roy gets back on the power earlier and keeps the position. So it looks like Skoda is going to be the first to pit. He's going long for his first stop into pit bay 3. Cast is next in. Ooh, he's going short. He's going for pit bay 1. Remember, this is going to be a long race, at least 70 minutes. So we're going to see very varied strategies as Doof and Diablo go for pit bay 3. Now is Cast going to be able to jump Skoda for 5th place? Well, I think he is. Look, there goes Cast. Skoda coming out just behind. But remember, Skoda will have more fuel as we see the race leader coming into the pits. And Sammy may be just behind him. He's gone for pit bay 2, and so has Sammy. And I strongly suspect that they're going to try and 2-stop the race, as Roy's going for that strategy as well, I think. Modgius going into pit bay 1 just as Edster's leaving. Sammy leaving just a few seconds later. Is Modgius going to get track position over Roy? We'll wait to see which one leave. It looks like it's going to be Modgius, so Roy will hope to make his way through quickly. Meanwhile, Cast leading Skoda as they go through the hairpin, but he hits the exit, so Skoda will get through pretty easily. And Roy almost immediately attacking Modgius. Slightly later going into the braking zone, he goes a bit wide, but he stays ahead of Modgius. Modgius trying to cut underneath him. Can Modgius get a better run going onto the straight? But to be honest, Modgius doing very well to keep up with Roy. It's the 2-2 strategy, which looks like it's going to be very marginal as he has a go at Roy. But it doesn't quite pay off. If that strategy doesn't work, then Modgius is going to be in the box seats. Ooh, well, that was a boring stint. Cast now ending it, going into pit bay 2. Oh, and Cast runs head first into the wall. Now that's very strange. Did he get a speeding penalty before he went into the bay, and so he couldn't see where he was going? Or perhaps he just entered at a really weird angle, I don't know. Well, he's exiting now. And I'm almost certain that Cast is going to have to stop again because 1-2 is not going to make it to the end. Modris going longer though, it looks like he will be fueled to the end. And now in come the leaders. Ed and Sammy quite evenly matched at the moment, but Ed has not made any mistakes that would let Sammy through. Oh, and he's committed to the 2-2 strategy now, as is Sammy. But is that going to be a lap shot? Oh, is Sammy reversing quite a lot, but stops just before the line. The rules say that you cannot go over the block line for the pit bay, which is just behind Sammy's rear axle. It's the same at the front as well. Can't go over the block line at the front either, as Roy coming in just as Edster leaves. As we watch Doof going through turn 1, going wide and going over, out of the track. Doof running dead last in 8th. Oh, but he doesn't get on properly, he's out. Very unlucky there, Doof, to lose so many big points on offer with all the no-shows. Although admittedly, he did run very wide there, as we see Skoda pitting, followed by Diablo into pit bay 1. They will be fueled to the end, but look! This is exactly what I was talking about with Sammy. You can't go over the line. It looks like Diablo has gone over it at the front. But the stewards could have grounds to penalise Diablo if he's deemed to gain an advantage from that. Cast going through now. Cast will have to make another stop, but with a possible penalty for Diablo, you never know. Cut back to the leaders, who are still duelling array over the lead of the race. Sammy once again closes up at that first hairpin, but no advantage there. So this is the fight not to finish last now that Doof is out. And Diablo seems to get much better momentum out of that corner there. Seems to be closing a bit on the long run to the next braking zone. Really needs to clear Cast quickly. Cast brakes early, but Diablo again braking late. Cast determined not to give way though and tries to dive down the inside, but Diablo looks like he may have carried a bit more speed. Cast lifted there. I'm almost sure of that. The pole in the Force India just doesn't quite have the confidence. But Diablo runs a bit wide there, that might compromise his line. Ooh, and that's a bad hit on the exit. So Cast keeps 6th place then. And now we're entering the closing stages of this Singapore Grand Prix. Edster still ahead of Sammy, but will these two have to stop again? Sammy a little closer this time. Remember, they're both over 20 seconds clear of Roy at this point, and Roy's on the same strategy, so could they get away with being safe? With Sammy making a move down the inside, completely catching Edster out. What can he do to respond? He tries to cut back underneath him. Oh, that was very tight. And all of a sudden, this sleeping giant of a race has come alive. Sammy's onslaught not over yet as they enter the old Singapore sling. Edster defending well, but can Sammy carry a bit more speed going into the hairpin? Oh, not quite. But fatigue starting to creep in from Edster. Diablo's caught back up to Cast and is trying to do the same move that Sammy did. Oh, a little bit more effective this time. And Diablo regains his 6th place. But has Cast got anything left to fight back with? Oh, aggressive on the brakes there, but on the throttle way too early and hits the wall. And Cast now bailing out and making that final stop, which in the circumstances seems quite sensible. Cut back to the leaders, and surely they'll have to stop again, but with this personal duel going on, they're going to hold off that final pit stop until the very last moment. You'd think that Sammy trying to attack at the hairpin, almost alongside Edster, and really starting to challenge him now. But going back into the slower twisty section here, it looks like Edster might just have the upper hand. He should hold on to the end of the lap, but with a dozen to go, can he fend off the championship leader? Sammy right on his gearbox as they start the lap. Going into the first corner, is Sammy going to make a move? Oh, Edster runs a bit wide, hits a wall. Edster messes up and Sammy is in the lead. And Ed will be kicking himself, having led so much of the race. Oh, Sammy hits the inside of the first corner now. Now he'll be kicking himself for giving the advantage back to Edster. Lucky for Ed, of course, but the pressure will only increase from here, and I think he's going into the pits. Sammy closing up a lot, though. Sammy could have stayed out, of course, for a few more laps, but this way you can put as much pressure as possible onto Edster. To use a cooking metaphor, Sammy has turned the cooker onto full gas to try and melt Edster's defence. We wait for them to leave. And that was a well-timed dramatic sting as Edster emerges, still in the lead as they exit the pits. And Edster hits the wall! Sammy goes into the lead with only 3 laps to go. I can't believe it! Surely no way back now as we see Roy make his final stop a few seconds later. And here's Sammy about to start the final lap, surely going to take what will be his 6th victory on the bounce. Although Edster hasn't given up yet. Did Sammy hit the inside of the hairpin there? I think he did. Edster closed up a tremendous amount there, and that set us up for a fantastic grandstand finish. Going through the chicane, he has 1 lap left to do it, but can he do it? Ed sounds his horn, he's desperate to find the way through. Into the first corner they go. No way through there as they steamroller their way towards that hairpin. Sammy again going deep, Edster getting a wider line and carrying more speed. He sounds the horn again, once again trying to irk Sammy. He starts to pull alongside. Will this be the move? Nothing between the two as they approach a braking zone and Edster's through. He almost hits the barrier and Sammy watches in dismay as he can see the win slipping from his grasp. What an upset it would be if Edster could pull this off with just half a lap to go. But you can see Sammy in his mirrors and needs to make that car as wide as possible. Approaching turn 13 and the front lifts up for Edster. My goodness, he nearly lost it there. Both drivers putting absolutely everything on the line. And Ed has a back marker right in front of him. He really needs to clear him as Sammy attacking again. Could there be one last sting in the tail? Is Sammy about to size up another move? Sammy trying to get the ideal line for the last few corners, but Ed knows he's so close to the finish. Edster trying to lap through Skoda and he backs off. They run towards the line and it's Edster who's going to take it by 0.153 of a second. What a drive, what a race, what a finish. Roy is third, Modius fourth. Skoda, probably unaware of what happened behind him on that last lap, will finish fifth. Then Diablo is going to cross the line 6th in the Ferrari. Then 7th and last of the finishes will be Cast in the Force India. After the celebration had died down, however, it gave way to a massive controversy. The Singapore GP stewards ruled that Edster's car had been seen moving 0.03 before the start of the race. They believed, quite firmly in conjunction with Roy and Sammy, that having jumped the start, Edster should be issued with a 25-second penalty. The fallout cast a shadow over what had been a thrilling end to the race. The McLaren team will seek clarification on the result, because the rules on jump starts, and in particular benefit of the doubt margins due to lag, are not at all clearly outlined in the rules. As the result stands now, however, Sammy will be gifted the win, with Edster being bumped down to second. Roy will be third, with Modius in fourth, actually not that far behind him, but sadly, even though his strategy was the right one to go on for the top runners, he couldn't get close enough to Roy. Skoda will be fifth, Diablo and Cast will be 6th and 7th, although their possible pit lane infringements have not been highlighted to the stewards at all. And of course, not finishing will be Doof Doof, who really had a missed opportunity to gain good points. That was 10 gone begging there, I'm afraid. But anyway, moving on from the controversy, let's see how it affects the Drivers' Championship. Sammy will increase his lead over Edster to 55 points. Edster has increased his lead over Roy to 14 points. Then it's Modius in 4th, Stephen in 5th, Skoda in 6th, Diablo and Justin on the same amount of points in 7th, Iron a point behind in 9th, and then a gap to Cast in 10th, Cyrus in 11th, Nitrous in 12th, Grant in 13th, Watman 14th, Doof Doof 15th, Lorino 16th, 622 17th, Tom 18th, Jake 19th, Sweetie 20th, Demish 21st, and Exam in 22nd. Moving on to the Constructors' Championship, as you'd expect, Marussia have again increased their lead. They now have an unassailable lead of 112 points, so I think it's pretty safe to say we can crown Marussia 2014 Constructors' Champions, really. It's now basically just a battle for second place between the two one-car teams of McLaren and Williams, fighting with a hand tied behind their back. Ferrari in 4th, Force India in 5th, Caterham in 6th, not too far behind Force India, Mercedes in 7th, and Lotus last in 8th. Well, that about wraps up for this round. We'll get you the confirmed results next time. Meantime, focus shifts this weekend to the race at Indianapolis. We hope to see you there. Goodbye. Thanks for watching.